let me spend some time to talk a little bit about this, right? Because I've throughout my journey in trading, okay, in technical analysis, I pick up quite a bit of different techniques, okay, and sometimes you might be like kind of like, you might be in the situation where you're gonna hit us like you kind of feel like, oh, a little bit wasted, right? I should have done this, I should have done that. Now if you take a look at this is what we call a harmonic pattern. I mean, there is a very valid pattern here called the shark, okay, but I don't trade the shark anymore right now, right? In the past, like back in 2013, 2014, I was very involved in harmonic patterns. Okay. But for now, for me, I'm more involved in the wave principles, right? And the wave. Okay. So there's no like best method, right? Or right or wrong, because you can see here, based on wave, I don't have an entry, I don't have a setup. But based on harmonic, we have a very decent setup, okay, which you probably would have bought in somewhere at the reversal point. Now, why I want to bring this up is because with today's social media environment, okay, you start to see, especially when you're already involved in this industry, okay, you start to see a lot of like people sharing, like how they actually took this trade based on this strategy, based on this method, etc., etc. Okay, now some of those might probably be hyped up, some of it might probably be genuine and real. But I just want you to also be aware that don't get yourself involved in, or don't put yourself in an environment where you're trying to kind of like grapple too many strategies. Okay, I've been there in the past as well. Okay, especially when I start to kind of like figure, oh, which strategy is better, right? Should I use this? Should I use that? And then I can tell you, it might feel nice, right? You might feel, whoa, excited. I'm having a lot of techniques that I can look out for to execute the trade. But you might eventually fall into the environment where you get lost, okay? You get confused because you look at the chart, okay? Sometimes you see it, oh, great, it's in alignment, right? The three strategies that I'm using, all of them tell me the same thing, okay? But most often than not, what you're going to see is that, oh, no, strategy 1 tells me to buy, strategy 2 tells me to sell, strategy 3 says buy at a different level, okay? And what should you do? Most of the time you fall into this category if you actually look at too many strategies at the same time, okay? Now, there are ways that you can mitigate this, okay? Of course, the simplest way I always suggest is don't try and, pick up 3 strategies and try to trade them concurrently, right? So the easiest way to kind of like mitigate this or get yourself out of this environment is choose one strategy, just focus on that. All right. Now, there is also the other method where if, let's say, you really are exploring, right, you're in the exploratory stage where you want to figure out like which strategy really suits and align with you, what I would then suggest is have separate accounts, okay? So maybe, you need to diversify your entire capital into 3 different accounts to test out 3 different strategy, okay? And you are very clear in this thing, like, okay, account 1, I'm going to use strategy 1, account 2, I'm going to use strategy 2, account 3, I'm going to use strategy 3. Okay, so you need to have all this in place if you want to use multiple techniques along the way. Okay. So why I want to bring this up, because I'm not sure if any of you are in this stage, but I just want to highlight, okay, if today you start to have this thought here of like, oh, what strategy should I use? Again, don't use everything concurrently, okay? It's not going to help you, right? I mean, it's going to put you back maybe a few months, right? Because you start to get stuck, you get to start confused, and then you need to get yourself unwind, okay, out of that. And it takes time to do it, okay? So it might be a process of like maybe 3 months to 6 months time, okay? So don't get trapped in that environment. Yeah, I just wanted to highlight on that.